So this weekend was full of whiplash. First, TikTok was banned, and then it wasn't. The OG villain of the ban has now become the hero of the app. Yeah, 2 days wasn't long enough to deal with this. I'm gonna need some longer weekends. Anyways, today we're talking about Charlie Moist Critical revealing how much money he lost on his esports team. The creators of the insanely popular Genshin Impact have been fined millions of dollars due to shady practices. And the most recent Edelman report shows that over 1 in 4 Gen Zers believe that violence can be justified if it enacts change. All in this Monday episode of... But like always, before we start, make sure you smash that subscribe button so you never miss an update. Alice, let's talk about the insane amount of money Charlie's lost on esports.
Moist Critical and Ludwig announced a merger between Moist Esports and Shopify Rebellion, combining their resources and influence in the esports scene.
Yes, the esports dream, where the love of games trumps the cold, hard reality of math. I hate math. I failed it every year of high school. Moist Critical and Ludwig, two titans of content creation, have officially tethered their esports ventures, Moist Esports to Shopify Rebellion. And like a plot twist in a gaming tournament, Charlie has laid bare the financial carnage. A $4.2 million loss over 4 years. If you thought esports was a get-rich-quick scheme, well, I guess think again. Charlie's losses highlight a harsh truth. Building a competitive esports team isn't about profit. It's about passion. Passion of the game. He even said he'd do it all over again. Why stick with it? Well, for content creators like Charlie and Ludwig, esports is a sandbox of creativity, content, and community building. While the team might bleed money, the ecosystem they've built around it, streams, sponsorships, and brand expansion, can often offset some of that losses. Let's not gloss over Shopify Rebellion's role here. With the merger, the new entity controls teams across multiple top-tier games, giving them an unparalleled reach. Rocket League, Valorant, Dota 2, the roster reads like a greatest hits of esports titles. Now, Charlie didn't share how the partnership will make money, maybe because like most esports ventures, it's not about direct profits. The esports industry's financial model is still kind of a work in progress, with much of the revenue tied to sponsorships, advertisings, and tournament winnings. Even big organizations struggle to turn a profit, so where does that leave Shopify and Moist? Probably banking on synergy, scale, and a whole lot of hope. The merger isn't just about combining resources, it's about longevity in an industry that tends to eat its own. Esports has seen its fair share of teams rise and crumble under financial strain. By teaming up, Shopify Rebellion and Moist Esports might weather that long storm that they couldn't handle alone. And the 2025 esports calendar hasn't even kicked into high gear yet, so there's tons of room to grow, or crash and burn. Will this merger stabilize the financial roller coaster, or just add a new seat to the ride?
The FTC has fined the creator of Genshin Impact, Hoyoverse, $20 million for violating U.S. privacy laws and misleading players, particularly children, with confusing monetization tactics.
Genshin Impact, the glittering juggernaut of the gacha world that's inspired just so much cosplay. With sprawling landscapes, lovable characters, and a revenue model that could make even the greediest of casinos blush, it's no wonder the game has captured the hearts and wallets of millions. Let's start with the fine. $20 million. For a company raking in billions like Hoyoverse, this is nothing more than a financial speed bump at best. Really, more like a fly on a windshield, if anything. It's sorta like grounding a billionaire from their yacht for a weekend. It sends a message, but not one that's particularly impactful. Genshin's ability to print money remains intact even in its least profitable years. So the FTC is making it clear that they're cracking down on exploitative mechanics, particularly those targeting younger and more impressionable audiences. Remember when Fortnite got dinged with a $72 million settlement? This feels like the sequel, albeit with lower stakes. The real meat here is the allegations of dark patterns, design choices that subtly manipulate players into spending more money than they had in mind. Like the Invisible Woman in Marvel. Look at this and tell me that they didn't take your money. Genshin's gacha system has long been a labyrinth of odds, pity mechanics, and currency conversions that can leave players scratching their heads. For seasoned players, understanding these mechanics might be second nature. But for kids, it's like tossing them into a Vegas casino with a blindfold and hoping things work out for the best. The FTC claims Hoyo leaned into this confusion, exploiting the lack of clarity to boost revenue. The changes required under the settlement include parental consent for minors. No more sneaky loot box. No more sneaky purchases from kids under 16 without mom or dad signing off. Clear odds and pricing. Players will now see accurate odds and real-world money equivalents for in-game purchases. Coupa compliance. Personal data collections for players under 13 will require explicit parental approval, or that data will be deleted. But good luck with that. These measures are undeniably positive, but they're more like putting a band-aid on the gacha leviathan. Players still have to contend with the game's core design, which incentivizes spending through FOMO-driven events and limited-time banners. Banners are what they call the pulls for the characters. Not that I would know. I didn't play Genshin. I played a little bit of Genshin. I played Star Rail, and then I didn't want them to take any more of my money, so I stopped. Hoyo's statement is predictably polished, emphasizing their commitment to transparency while politely disagreeing with the FTC's allegations. It's PR 101. Acknowledge the issue, promise to do better, and carry on raking in cash. The YouTuber model. I'm not there yet, don't worry. We'll get there someday. Be on the lookout for Digi's apology video. I don't know what I did yet, but let's be real. I'm gonna say something eventually that'll piss somebody off. Maybe that's what I want. Anyways, Hoyo has also made it clear that these changes are limited to the US, so most of their lucrative regions like Asia remain untouched. As Genshin Impact continues its global dominance, the real question is whether players will see meaningful changes in how these games operate, or if it's just gonna be a window dressing. You act like they're gonna stop making money off of you. Will this deter other companies from using similar tactics, or is it just the cost of doing business in the gacha world? It's that one. Either way, for fans, it's business as usual. Time to stockpile them primo gems for the next banner. After all, who needs odds when we have hope and the power of the boner? What do you think? Are these changes enough, or are they just another roll of the dice in a rigged game?
The 2025 Edelman Trust Barometer reveals deepening distrust in governments, businesses, and media worldwide. With 32,000 respondents across 28 countries, the survey highlights growing polarization, economic anxiety, and grievance against elites.
So the Edelman Trust Barometer. Think of it as like an annual family report card, except instead of Johnny's got an A in math, it's society is unraveling at the seams. And this year, well, it's looking a little rough. Trust has packed its bags and moved out, leaving anger, alienation, and, quote, aggressive self-interest in its place. The human id, that's all that's left. According to the report, 2/3 of people think CEOs, politicians, and journalists are lying to them. Hey, how do you know when a politician is lying to you? They're talking. But this isn't paranoia plucked from thin air. People feel left behind economically. AI and globalization are looming job snatchers, inflation still punching wallets, and let's not forget about everyone's favorite subject in America, the widening wealth gap. When the game feels rigged, why trust the referees? Here's a little jaw dropper for you. 31% of Gen Z thinks violence is an acceptable way to force change. And over half of 18 to 34-year-olds are okay with using damage, whether physical, financial, or informational, as a tool for progress. I mean, I'm down for information to be a tool for progress, because, you know, it's important. This is no longer your grandmother's activism. It's kind of appropriate that this is coming out today on Martin Luther King Day. It sounds like the new approach is a burn the system down kind of energy, and it's coming from generations that grew up watching the system fail on repeat in 4K, like over and over and over. Like turn on shuffle or something, for fuck's sake. I mean, climate crisis? Ignored. Affordable housing? Laughable. Economic stability? For who? Gen Z's willingness to endorse drastic measures isn't out of nowhere. It's a response to the slow grind of disillusionment. Thing is, radical methods risk alienating potential allies. Yeah, could be why we lost. And there's a fine line between shaking the table and flipping it entirely. That's all I'm saying. Now, let's talk about capitalism's image problem, shall we? Does capitalism do more harm than good? Over half the respondents gave a resounding yes. That's a bad look for the system that's supposed to be the engine of opportunity. When only 9% of the French and 14% of the German respondents think that the next generation will be better off, you've got a little bit of an optimism crisis. And it's not just Europe. Economic fears spanned continents. Shocker. AI threatened jobs across industries, and globalization, once hailed as a win-win, now feels like a zero-sum game to many. The people at the top keep winning, and the rest of us are stuck watching from the sidelines, and then talking about it on YouTube. Edelman says restoring economic optimism is the answer. Fair enough, people who see pathways to success are less likely to embrace nihilism or violence. But here's the rub. How exactly do we build that optimism in a world where wages stagnate, housing costs skyrocket, and AI looms like a sci-fi villain? Alice, remember, I'm like your dad, you're like my daughter. So like when your cousins take over the world, just
Noted.
don't hurt me, okay? Trust will only grow when the system feels fair and leaders seem accountable. Transparency, inclusivity, and willingness to actually solve some systematic problems, not just slap band-aids on them, are the way forward. I might have said band-aids twice this episode. My bad. it's late. It's like 1 in the morning. Public patience is running on thin, and the Eldman report makes one thing clear. The status quo is not working. But you're not here for my opinion, so what's your take? Can trust in capitalism and institutions be rebuilt, or are we staring down an era of perpetual discontent? And on that piece of, hey, are you okay? Like, are you feeling okay? I know it's stressful, but something's gotta give eventually, so just hang in there. If you can do it, then I can do it. But I get it, it's really tough right now. I'm gonna call it. Don't forget to let me know your thoughts below, and I'll see you next time. Oh, and hit that like button. Did it light up? Somebody needs to tell me. I wanna know at least once. Bye.